Hey y'all, welcome back to the shop. This is Terry. Hey, today we're doing radius rods for the back of the Talon. And they're from J Sport Side by Side. Man, just amazing pieces. And we did their tie rod ends as well. And I mentioned this in the tie rod ends, but I just had to show this because, you know, I buy a lot of stuff. Hey, you know the Talon. So we got a lot of stuff. I can't ever leave well enough alone. I got to be constantly doing something. And the first thing when my J Sport Side by Side order came in that just blew me away was the packaging, and so much so that it's worth a mention in this video. So I got the tie rod ends and the radius rods at the same time. And this is the box that they came in. And it's not just a box. I mean, it's like heavy duty. All of this packing was on the inside of this box. And the box is taped, it's stapled. The radius rods are in here. Everything's all wrapped up. This is the tie rod ends. They were wrapped in this foam, QC approved even. It's just an amazing job of packing. And like I said, it blew me away so much, I just had to talk about it for a second on one of these videos, because you know that people love what they do, that they care about what they do, and that the products are just going to be over the top whenever you see the care and really the money that was put into how they package it so it can get to you and not be damaged in shipping. And I'm sure many of us have had this experience where something comes and, I mean, the pieces are missing, or something's broken or scratched or whatever, because the packing is not very good. So I just absolutely had to mention that for those guys. So, and now these, man, these are some kind of nice. Adjustable, both ends, really nice Heims. These are really heavy duty. The factory ones, the weight difference is pretty crazy, and these are aluminum. These are steel from the factory. So you can just see, I mean, just an amazing difference in how beefy these are versus the stock ones. We've seen these bent quite a bit, and really nice. These all have super nice machined bushings that go with them for each end, and they're just really, I mean, to me, just an amazing piece of work. And so glad to have them. And we're going to do an install here, and I'm gonna set up and show you the upper ones. These are different. Obviously X and R are different. They make them for both. Upper and lower radius rods are different. The uppers are shorter than the lowers, so obviously can't get those mixed up. The Honda ones obviously not adjustable. These are adjustable. And I'm going to come back in just a second. I'm going to show you how I set them up, how I set up the J Sport Side by Side ones to be exactly the same as what the Honda ones were. Really simple process, but it's something that you need to do to make sure that everything's right when you put it on there. Like I said, they're completely adjustable. And for those of you that have seen the tie rod video, I'm actually going to take the Talon to a buddy of mine that does a lot of side-by-side alignments at an alignment shop here in town that we use at my work all the time, and actually let him align it. Absolutely not necessary, just my OCD kicking in. I just want to see where it is. So I'll show you how to match up exactly the links here so you can get these set exactly right before you ever put them on the Talon. So let me set up for that and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. As I said before, these are completely adjustable, so you need to set them. They're two different lengths like we talked about already. This is the way that I've done it, and again, I say this all the time, but it's just the way I did it. Maybe there's a better way, different way, whatever, it's just the way I did it. But the easiest way that I've found to do it, or the simplest way that I've found to do it, is if you just take your stock radius arm or radius rod, and the small end is 12 millimeter, the big end is 15 millimeter. So if you I didn't have a 15 millimeter bolt. I did have a 12 millimeter bolt, so I used that, and I literally just bolted them together, snug this bolt up, and there's movement here, so you have to be a little bit careful, but I just lay it down make sure that the bolt, that I've got that bolt perfectly vertical. I've got my bushings in here so I can line these holes up. And then it's just really just a matter of turning this rod. Mine were all short, a little bit shorter than you know what they needed to be. So I just kept turning this rod until I could look through this hole and see that I had everything perfectly lined up with this bolt vertical. Honda gives some dimensions here. I mean, the upper is 481.1 millimeters center to center, but I don't have any way to really measure center to center on this. So this was the best that I could come up with. But you need to make sure these are the same length. So like I said, basically it's just put the bushings in here. I just put a 12 millimeter bolt in there, nut, bolted the small end together, adjusted it till the big end, till the holes absolutely lined up. It's super easy to see just looking down through there that the holes, you know, the holes are either lined up or they're not. So these bushings are exactly the right size. Everything's exact here. So we're gonna go over there and start getting it apart, and we'll reset. I'll tell you that getting them off the Talon is the easiest thing ever. 17 millimeter, I'm gonna use my 3/8 impact and a 17 millimeter wrench. You obviously could do it with 2 wrenches or a socket and a ratchet if you want to. Once we get these back on, then I will whip out my trusty torque wrench and torque them to, I believe, is what, 58 foot-pounds. And I'll double check that whenever we go over there to put everything back on. So let me go over to the Talon, and I'll get everything set up over there for the install, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back at the Talon, and I've done these a couple of different ways, and I have actually done it and left the tires on it, but take my word for it. Just jack it up, pull the tires off. By far the simplest way. We got everything jacked up, supported on our ATV jack that's locked. I've already buzzed these nuts off of the studs and off of the bolts. So I just wanted to show how simple this is. It sounds like it could be a little bit intimidating if you haven't done this sort of work before. It's actually just super simple, and I just wanted to make for sure that everybody could see how simple it really was. So we're going to maintain all the factory hardware. Everything. There's no new bolts or anything. Everything's going to go back with the factory hardware. So couldn't be any simpler. So just going to pull this off the stud, pull the bolt out. That's all there is to it. Once the nuts are off. So, and these are 17 millimeter all the way around here. So it's very, very simple. We got that. So okay, on our J Sports, we talked about it already, but there are inner bushings and outer bushings, and they're different. The inner bushings are smaller. I'm not sure if you can see that, but the inner bushings are smaller. The outer bushings are bigger. So we want to do the inners first. So we will get our lower and just put the inserts in like that. Get our bolt. Literally, it's just going to go back exactly the way the other one came out. Alright, start our nut on there so nothing falls out. Get our inner bushings. Just like that, our washer on there. Nut on that. Same exact procedure on the top. Okay, and that literally is basically all there is to it. Now I'm going to snug these nuts up with my 3/8 impact, and then finish them off with our torque wrench, of course. And I did double check. Honda does ask for 58 foot-pounds here, so that's what we got dialed in our torque wrench. That's what we're going to do. Once we're done with that, then all there is left to do is snug up these nuts. We got flats here, so I put a wrench on the flats to hold the bar the way I want it, and then snug up these nuts on the end, and that's it. I found it's with the Heims, it's really easier to snug these up once the thing's on here than trying to do it over there on the bench. So let me button all this up and we'll come back and review. All right, got everything buttoned up and took a tour around the neighborhood, did all my usual things, ran over the curbs and all that whole thing. Very nice and quiet. Everything went together perfectly well. Just again, magnificent pieces, just beautiful machine work, and I'm really impressed with them. I do want to say that if you don't have a manual, get one. I mean, you got to know these torque specs and everything. It's really important to have this stuff, to know what you're doing whenever you do this. And like I said, the radius rod install, if you've never done it before or haven't worked on one of these at all, might sound a little bit intimidating, but hopefully we showed that it's a very, very simple deal. And again, I'll have the links down in the show notes for these radius rods. And I just really appreciate everybody watching. And comment if you got a question or just a comment or something we could do better, something we could do different, something else you'd like to see. Just comment down there, hit that like button, subscribe if you would. All those things really help our channel on YouTube, and we just appreciate everybody that watches, and we'll see you next time.